For audience members, you were homeschooled? Really? But you're so outgoing. I have heard this response many times when I tell people I was homeschooled. People have a lot of misconceptions about kids who are homeschooled. I promise that if you're homeschooled, you don't turn out socially awkward. When given the chance, homeschooling can offer many benefits. With the current COVID-19 crisis, public schools have been shut down. Students and parents are getting a glimpse into a new way of learning. Now everyone gets a taste of homeschooling. I think that many parents and children, once they adjust, will see the many benefits homeschooling has to offer. Today I will be discussing the benefits of homeschooling compared to public school. I went to public school until 6th grade. In the middle of 6th grade, however, I switched to homeschooling. Homeschooling changed my life for the better. My only regret is that I didn't start sooner. I was miserable when I went to public school. I was bullied physically and mentally on a regular basis. My grades were poor, and I dreaded going to school. Today I will be discussing the pros and cons of public school. Next I will explain the pros and cons of homeschooling. Finally, I will talk about the personal effects homeschooling had on my life. According to HowStuffWorks.com, hundreds of years ago, most learning happened in the home. Parents taught their children, or if they could afford it, they hired a private tutor. Now let's take a look at why public schools were put into place. Well, according to raceforward.org, it states that in 1647, public schools were put in place to allow children to learn to read. The goal was to ensure that Puritan children learned to read the Bible and receive basic information about their religion. Public schools have been around for hundreds of years, providing education to children in their communities. Let's take a look at some of the pros that public school has to offer. According to publicschoolreview.com, public schools are available to everyone, regardless of their financial situation, race, or disability. According to publicschoolreview.com, public schools admit all children in the community. Those that attend public school are more likely to be in a classroom with other students who don't think or act like them. According to publicschoolreview.com, most public schools offer extracurricular activities in sports, music, theater, and art. Public schools have their pros, but they are far from perfect. Let's take a look now at what cons come with public school. According to proscons.net, some public schools have limited funding. Therefore, sometimes there are too many students to the teacher, and this creates an imbalance. According to proscons.net, some public schools have had reductions in funding and were forced to drop classes like music and art. Bullying is still a major problem in public schools. Now kids go home and they're still being attacked online. Many adolescents have found themselves unable to deal with this type of conflict. The effects of bullying can leave scars well into adulthood, and for some, they have found it so difficult they've taken their life. I know the personal effects of bullying. In school, I was slapped, kicked, pushed, cursed at, stolen from, and slandered by a group of girls in my grade. I never spoke up because their families were in gangs, and a girl told me if I said anything, that her brother would come to my home and kill my entire family. That threat would be scary at any age, but especially to an 11-year-old. Some people may say that all kids need to learn how to fight back and stand up to a bully, but tell me, how is an 11-year-old equipped to handle this kind of unrest and trauma day in and day out? I saw an interview on the news the other day, and a mom was talking about why she decided to homeschool her 5 children. She said that there's a lot of negative influence in public school, and she did not feel happy to send her young children into a situation that they are not equipped to handle at the moment. I really resonated with what this mother had to say, because I knew exactly what she meant. When I was 11, walking into school every day, I felt like I was walking into a war zone. I think I have focused so much on this last con because it's the main reason I left public school. Now I would like to look at the pros and cons that homeschooling all has. We will start with the pros of homeschooling. According to BrandonGalley.com, homeschooling allows a person to work at their own pace on assignments. I remember feeling so dumb in public school because I was not able to complete my assignments as fast as other students. It wasn't until I was homeschooled that I realized I wasn't dumb, I just needed more time. According to BrandonGalley.com, students still receive personal interactions with their teachers. Homeschooling has become a broader word, especially with the changes in technology. The type of homeschooling I did was a lot like public school in the sense that I had to go to class at specific times and submit assignments at specific times. I was in PA Cyber and my teacher was always ready to answer my questions outside of the classroom via email or phone. There was also tutoring available every day. Homeschooling is cost effective. The school I went to sent me all my equipment that I needed to be homeschooled. They paid for part of the internet, and I was sent school supplies that such as a laptop and a printer. Now I would like to look at homeschooling. It's not without its cons. One of the cons is that there are rarely personal interactions with students in person. According to BrandonGalley.com, it's easier for some students to slip through the cracks when it comes to group assignments. Although assignments are tracked in a homeschooling environment, some students can get by doing very minimal work. Homeschooling, it has its flaws and it requires hard work, but it's well worth it. Finally, I want to explain the personal benefits that homeschooling had for me. I learned how to study better because I actually had to read the material assigned. I went from a C student to an A student. I was so much happier because I was no longer being bullied. I was still involved with school activities. For example, I still went on field trips. I still attended my graduation ceremony. I made lifelong friends. I gained confidence in myself and my abilities, and I learned how to be self-motivated and work independently. In conclusion, education is a valuable thing, and it's up to parents to decide what course they want to pursue for their children. But homeschooling can be a great option when given the chance. Thank you.
Very good.